There he is. Hello, Sean.
How are you doing?
Good. So this is Sean Whiteley, for any of you who don't know Sean, and he is the president of Realdefense. And he's here to go more in depth of all the things that you can run into on the support side. And he's going to share that with us. So Sean, over to you.
Absolutely. Lou, thanks for letting us take the time to talk today and share some information about our call center fraud prevention. Really appreciate Anytech 365 sharing such great information, and hopefully we can be of some value to you guys as well. We are really hoping this could be an interactive presentation. I only have a few slides here, but I'll just kind of expound on some of the things we've seen this year and things that we're dealing with, challenges we're having, and happy to share and be transparent with you guys on that. And if you have any questions for me, happy to share the things that we've done to mitigate fraud on our side as well. So obviously everybody on the call knows why chargebacks matter. I think any one of us has had problems here and there going in and out of Visa monitoring. And obviously the issue is a chargeback happens when a customer contacts their bank to dispute a charge. And I'm not really gonna talk today about winning chargebacks, because that's really more about representment and doesn't affect the chargeback rate. I'm just gonna talk more about preventing chargebacks and ways that we mitigate it. Right now, Visa, last October 2019, they lowered their threshold to 0.9% of sales to be allowed to be charged back by the number of sales when you're at volume. And that used to be 1%, which was a little bit easier. 0.9 just made it a little bit tighter. And obviously, any sort of chargeback alert monitoring that you can use, I recommend you use all of them. We use Ethica, Verify, and VMPI for all of our chargeback alert processing through our representative company, which is Chargebacks 911. We actually have a unique perspective because we're on multiple billing platforms. I know a lot of you are on multiple billing platforms, but we're actually kind of split down the middle between 2Checkout and our own and Sticky Limelight. So we actually see both. We know what it's like to have an all-in-one solution from one company and some of the benefits and advantages on that side from 2Checkout. And then on the other side, working with Sticky, where it's more like you can go at your own. You can plug in Chargebacks 911. You can bring in third-party tools like FlexPay. You can do things to help your overall management, whereas you've got more of a black box with 2Checkout. So we're doing both actively at the moment, and there are pluses and minuses to both. First things first, for chargeback mitigation, I will say that doing it on your own, you obviously can sign up with everybody, and we do. So we use Ethica, Verify, VMPI. For us, we also use 3DS. I know you guys talked about that a bit yesterday. I would be curious to know how it works for other folks. We're mainly US, so we're not seeing a lot of benefit from 3DS. I'm hoping that's coming in some of the iterations that they're doing. Today, it just doesn't benefit us that much. And also on our side, we see really our chargeback alerts being blocked by two ways. We're also currently looking at some of the new things coming out, like rapid dispute resolution, and also the ability to provide more data. We use Count for our fraud protection on one of our two platforms. And they have some new services that just came out, which actually provide a richer experience to the bank, to the actual person doing the chargeback alert. And we're hopeful that will also lower chargebacks as well. So maybe if we're invited back next year, we can talk about how that went. We're not currently doing that today. And one of the scary things about Visa monitoring is that for those of you who are not familiar, there's a workout period of the first 4 months or so where there's no fines, but it's more like, hey, you're monitoring, hey, you're monitoring. And then once you hit month 5 to 7, it goes to $50 per chargeback. And then after that, it goes to $25,000 to $50,000. And what can happen to a lot of folks, happened to us, is that you can actually come out, you can actually have a couple of good months with no chargeback issues, and then one bad month puts you right back at the, actually it doesn't put you back at the beginning, it literally keeps going. So you can be, you reach the audit phase around month 9 or so, And thankfully, we haven't gotten to that point yet. But the way it works is that your first month of monitoring is your first month. If you have a spaced out next month, and meaning that you don't have any issues the next month, but then the third month you have it, that becomes your second month of monitoring. And then you could have 2 good months, and then you could have a month in, and that's your third month of monitoring. So you don't get to go back to the beginning until you have 3 months in a row. And a friend of mine has gotten very deep with this, and gotten to, they went really far with this. And eventually, after you pay the fines and the audits, it gets to the point where, and we're talking after 12 months, 18 months, it gets to the point where they will lower your threshold. They'll say, okay, well, now you got to get it below 0.75 or 0.65. And so it gets even harder. Obviously, the banks try to work with you on this, depending on who you're working with. If you go through a third party, like 2Checkout is a little bit different, obviously, because they're the merchant of record and you're working with them on it. And there's challenges on both sides. And obviously, the big issue here is if you can't process, you can't make money. So it's very important that everybody's aware of how it works and understands the system. Any questions on chargebacks in particular, like how they work or what they are? Or
I know what they are. I don't know if you're going to be getting into it, but I would like just, if you could just expand on it more. I mean, I know the general idea, but I know what a chargeback is, but like, where do you see them mostly? Is it just from bad service?
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
A lot of times it can feel like whack-a-mole, but obviously at the most basic level, a chargeback is when the customer calls their bank and says, hey, that wasn't me, or hey, they weren't supposed to charge me, or it could be, that's the basic of a chargeback. But let's go ahead to the next slide. We'll talk about what are the types and sources of chargebacks. And this is different for all of us, but I'm just going to talk about our challenges. And if anybody wants to talk about their challenges, they're free to expound and talk about it as well. Number one that we've seen my whole career, what I've always seen, bad affiliates, number one reason. And it can happen fast. And a good affiliate can become a bad affiliate. Ourselves, we recently did, we shut off all affiliates in, I'm trying to think about when that was, March of 2019 for our old, so Realdefense, we are in the consumer security and privacy space. We do remote tech support. Anything we can offer for a consumer for security protection. We sell, PC optimization, VPNs, antivirus, anything they could need. And so we have multiple channels for marketing. And when we were before we acquired Iolo this last July, we were focused in on, we had tried out to the affiliate channel that had not really been done with MyCleanPC and US tech support before. And we saw some initial success. We saw, low cost orders coming in. They looked good at first, things seemed fine. And then eventually just went the wrong way. And even though we shut it off, and I'll talk about this in a minute about what we in retrospective, looking back to, March of 2019 and when it started for us, we could have done more, should have done more. We could have not had a problem. And instead we sort of, we kind of just trying to find our way through it because the issue had happened so quickly to us after having really no chargeback issue in the history of the company. It was all of a sudden now you had this issue we were dealing with. So affiliates, obviously, as you know, and you guys are talking about in the conference, is that's when you work with these third-party platforms. They bring in folks, or you have your own folks, and they come and they drive traffic to your site, and you can't really control how they're marketing. You don't know what they're doing, and they can be good one day and bad the next. So we ran into that problem at both companies now. Call center fraud is obviously a huge concern. We have multiple, I'm sure as Anytech 365, we do 100% call monitoring using a service called observe.ai, very similar to like a call miner, or I think I heard Cedric. We do it for both our chats and our emails. We keep all of our call center monitoring third party. We have very strict compliance and no tolerance for any shenanigans, but it can happen. And how do you weed those things out and those problems out? And then generally just communication failures with the customer. I think some folks in the past have been hesitant to communicate with their customers, especially if they're set up for recurring billing. And I can tell you right now that that's a huge mistake. You should be talking to all your customers frequently and often, especially the ones who are not utilizing, because those are the ones that will turn into a chargeback. And frankly, you can make money off of those folks. So you can offer them other products and services and things that they need if you're staying close to them. And so I would say that knowing that your emails are getting through, using services like Return Path, MX monitoring, there's so many things that you can do to make sure your communication is working, your emails are getting through. It's super critical. And then also just keeping your IPs clean, which is super important, because people get really greedy sometimes and want to fire out a bunch of emails or mass market or spam. Once you get blown up, you can't come back from that. And it's not just people doing things that are nefarious. It's just about being irresponsible, and saying that I've got this huge email list, all my old customers. What if I just message them once just to see if I can get some of them to come back? And I'm telling you, after 6 months, you might as well consider an email's dead. It doesn't exist anymore. And that's what we do. There's just anything over 6 months old, it's dead to us. Doesn't matter if they haven't opened an email. We're not trying anymore. Any questions? So let's go into each one individually here. So the number one issue is bad affiliates. You hook up with a partner who says they've got this great site. You check out their site. You think it looks good. You validate it. And next thing you know, they're sending out some nasty stuff that you didn't expect. And especially this can happen if you're working with, downstream from 2 affiliates. So on our end, what we do is, let's talk a little bit more about the fraud, because this is things that we've seen in the last year. We had what we thought was a good affiliate. We monitor both the, CAC and the LTV. Everything related to that affiliate was looking really strong. We weren't seeing a high chargeback rate. Everything was fine. And then all of a sudden we got like 100 orders from them in a day, which was like way out of range for them. And then it was like 200 the next day. And we're like, wow, this is what's going on. And we called them up. And now, unfortunately, I've gotten too old now. Whenever our sales spike, instead of getting excited, the first thing I do is I go, crap, what went wrong? So I go and look, and these guys were basically saying that, we weren't even selling McAfee. They were saying, oh, your McAfee subscription's running out. And you should renew. And then they were coming to us and buying our product, which was not McAfee. And of course, that's a huge problem. The other thing that we're seeing too is, surprisingly enough, spam has not stopped. It has not stopped. It still happens. And you can get on an affiliate list that send out these emails, and they'll tell you that they're fine, they don't have any issues. And the next thing you know, the spam emails are going through saying to people that your subscription has run out. We've even had issues where customers have seen other people's marketing, and I'm sure you guys have been hit by this year too. This was a real nasty one where emails were getting blasted out for US tech support saying that we were out of business and they were entitled to a refund. And of course, they want to get you on the phone. As soon as they get you on the phone, well, I need your account information so I can send you the money, right? And people were getting just dinged for nasty stuff. And this isn't so much about us getting chargebacks, but it obviously hurts our reputation, our brand. And it was a real problem. It was a real problem this past year. It's actually still a problem. I'm getting letters in the mail saying, I never subscribed to you. Why did you send me a bill for $500? So they're doing not just spam email, they're sending letters. So in terms of mitigation, very critical from us from day one, and I highly recommend everybody does this, and we've implemented this now at IOLO, is that you need to monitor and track every single sale. I know that sounds simple in its form, but I now realize how much this isn't done. You need to know when a customer comes in, who that customer is, right? And what source they came from. And then you need to attach that source code to that customer forever. And not just for chargebacks, but for everything that you do. So when you're looking at your LTV and you're looking at how you're making money as a business, where your best customers coming from, you need to monitor and track every sale. It's not, if you rely on the Google Ads tools or the Bing tools to be successful, you're going to fail. You're going to fail because you're just not going to know where those customers are coming from, especially if you're using those tools for affiliates. It's fine to use third-party platforms, but require all transactions on your platform and have a source code applied to every single one by affiliate ID and in some cases by sub ID. You have to. And if you're not doing it, then you're a fool. You're going to get slammed, and you won't even see it coming. So I know it sounds basic to some of you, like how could you not track every single place you're coming from? But maybe you've run off organic traffic from day one, and you just want to try some online marketing, or maybe you've always done search, never had a problems, and now you're going to try affiliates. You must monitor and track every sale by every affiliate ID. And then when an issue happens, you need to go out. Well, let's take a step back for a second. The second thing is you need to have fraud monitoring in place. We use Count on one of our platforms. On2 Checkout has their own proprietary fraud prevention tools. They are critical to your success. I know a lot of times people are worried about how how tight are they going to make their rules. And I would say that one of the nice things with Count that we have is we can actually make a rule and then set it up in a monitoring mode, and then we'll know how many transactions that we blocked, so we can see where they're coming from. I would say 100% that you're really going to find success if you tighten those up and make sure that if you see something bad happening, you just shut it off. So definitely, there's other tools out there as well. Count is one of them. Definitely make sure you're using one. If you're not, you need to use one. And then once you have an issue, and this will be something that just to talk to you guys, what I was talking about, what happened to us in March of 2019 when we started out with affiliates on Realdefense, we did not go back and proactively refund everybody who we thought might be a problem. So we cut off all the affiliates. We didn't cut off all. At first, we didn't cut off all the affiliates. We cut off all the new affiliates. And then 2 months later, when the problem wasn't going away, we cut off all the affiliates. But what we should have done at that point, and if I could go back, I would, you bite the bullet and you refund every single order from that one affiliate from day one, going back 120 days, obviously, because 120 days is the maximum amount of time for a chargeback in the US. So 100% do that. I'll tell you, the same thing happened to us at Iolo. We brought in some new affiliates, and we have affiliate fraud monitoring. We've got a third party that manages it for us. We use reputable platforms. We got references, yada, yada, yada. We still somehow let 3 bad affiliates through. But this time, we went back. When we saw that was bad, we shut them all off, and we went back and we refunded back for 3 months. And our chargeback rate went way down. We're running way low right now. We're very happy. But if we had not done that, that would have been a real problem. I think that something for you all to consider is that when a problem happens, don't mess around with it. You should immediately go back and refund everybody and shut them off. Any questions on the affiliate stuff, or I'm just going to go ahead and keep charging through?
Sean,
Well,
do you have any good? Do you have any good affiliate stories? Or I don't understand how come you keep, if it hurts so much, why are you keeping on doing it?
Great question. So at Realdefense back in March 2019, there were no good stories, and we shut them all off. Okay, so there was no good stories. After we acquired Iolo, Iolo had a history of affiliate programs, and there are definitely partners that you work with, big partners, that require you use an affiliate program, and all their stuff is clean. Does that make sense? So we're still on CJ, we're still on Rakuten, and we have people running through our tried and true existing ones, but it takes a smarter man than me to figure out how to add new affiliates that are on it that will do a good job for you. That's a great question, though.
Thanks. Sean, I got a quick question, which is you mentioned the things, it was getting a little worse, I guess, over the last year, the COVID thing. Have you seen any let up of that? Just because the COVID seems to be lessening and, life is coming back a little bit. Have you seen any reduction in the crap you see coming across the line?
Well, we see a reduction in crap coming across the line because we stopped the affiliate.
Okay.
And, there are other things that we're going to talk about in another slide about the call center that have definitely been impacted by the coronavirus, for sure.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But no, I would say the affiliate traffic really opened up to us. New things opened up to us over COVID. But again, it's just very risky stuff. And net, you've got to really, really know your business. Like, I'll give you some other things that we do track that helps us understand what's happening. We track, since once you have that source code now and it's tied to a user, you can see everything, right? as long as you have a good BI team, you can see utilization. You can look at, your email policies that you have, your refund policies that you have. In the beginning of COVID, I will say that we had no chargeback issues, and we were no longer in monitoring, came out of monitoring, and we were really happy that we had everything under control. And what our and I don't think I'm breaking any rules here. We work with Chargebacks 911. There's other ones out there, chargebacks.com. I have not looked at all of them. It just happens to be the one that I use. And they said, actually, when COVID started, they were having a huge problem with their other clients. Everybody was charging back. And I was really surprised to hear that, because we were having a really good run. Later on, we had other issues that we'll talk about in a second, which caused our chargeback rate to creep up again. And we, obviously we're concerned, and that was more to do with the call center. We'll talk about in a second, but not for affiliates. I'm very lukewarm for our business to affiliate traffic right now, and it has to be really vetted out, and we have to be running really low chargebacks for me to be even consider it. Any other questions on this one? All right. I only have a few slides again, so hopefully you guys have lots more questions for me. So call center fraud. Yeah, I actually would, this does talk all about, let's talk about this last year. So this would definitely be our biggest issue with chargebacks this last year for us. Really the challenge is, this is for 2020. We, if you get overly aggressive in the call center to meet goals, there's downstream impact that can happen there. And, we're very careful to monitor everything. And we spend a lot of time on sales validation, third-party sales validation. And we don't like to have, we never rely on our in-house people. We want to make sure that we're, everything's being sold clean. And we always tell our folks on every weekly call, it only takes one bad call to ruin the whole thing. One bad call goes to the news. That's it. It's over. It's not worth it. You don't have to. People need our help. They want our help. You just got to talk to them and be consultative. So it's really important to me that we don't do any agent targets. We just manage for overall incentives and just try to keep it really light and not have a problem. Thankfully, we haven't had a problem in this area, but I imagine that this would be something that would be a challenge for folks. The other one is poor communication. So this is something that, as we've scaled, our sales are up a lot. So we've noticed that it's gotten a little bit on the sales validation side. It's really important that everything is repeated to the customer very clearly and that they fully understand exactly what they bought. It's absolutely critical. And we're noticing with some of our AI that we're doing now that it doesn't always happen the way that we want. So, and this would be something to talk about next year. We're thinking about possibly recording the sales validation, so it's very specific and it's done. And we're also talking about, and we have zero tolerance for it, and you think that would be enough. But it's just sometimes somebody gets excited that they got a sale and they don't take the time to walk the person through what it was. I don't think I talked about the next slide yet. I don't talk about the next slide, but one of the other things too that we're very focused on right now is utilization. And I think that when we talked about utilization, I talked about it a little bit earlier on the presentation. We were talking about how you want to talk to your customers on your email list. You want to talk to all of your recurring customers. The more you talk to them, the closer the relationship, and the more things that they'll buy from you. But we're taking that to a whole new level this next year. We think it's super critical that everything's utilized. So one of the things that we've done is that if somebody hasn't activated their product, we will go ahead and just turn off auto renewal. And I'd love to tell you this was our idea. It wasn't our idea because we have a very high activation rate for our software. But it was something that 2Checkout told us, and it's worked. We're seeing less upset customers. We're also, because they didn't activate, what do? We put them on an activation campaign, and we reach out to them actively. Hey, you haven't activated your software. You haven't activated your software. So now it can be a KPI for our marketing team. And it's not just there. We have other services and products that we sell. But if they haven't used, and I'm not, this might be helpful to any tech, we haven't really looked into, okay, well, when is the last time that they used their tech support service? And what communications are we doing to encouraging them to call? Because if they call, they get service, and they possibly buy more, right? So these are all the things that weren't super intuitive to us in the beginning. We were more excited about the fact that we could sell other services in the same sort of area to these folks, that we weren't really looking at the utilization side. So now we're really laser focused on that. So we want to make sure that all of our products and services are being properly activated, properly used, and that if they're not, then our marketing team is reaching out saying, hey, you need to call us. You have not active, you bought online backup, but you're not using it, right? Or whatever it is. And I think that that's really important and will help us out. The big change with COVID and why it was such a challenge for us was staffing. And I saw this in some of my friends' companies too this last year. So when COVID hit, I'll just tell you our little horror story. I'm sure you guys have your own horror stories. Luckily, our tech support team was all from home, so that was easy. There was not an issue there. But our other staff were not, and we had to work, double time to get them working from home. And so, especially in March, where you had shutdowns happening all over the place, we were lucky that we never lost service, but our abandon rates jumped, and that was a real concern. And when we got through that one problem and got people selling from home, the next problem we ran into over the course of the last year, and I'm sort of brushing through this. This was an absolute nightmare. It was not an easy thing. Matter of fact, not our company, but a good friend of mine's company. They were down for a month. No phone calls for a month, and this is not good. That was not good for them. They were just doing their customer service and for billing support. They lost a lot of money. So, and their chargeback rate went through the roof. So it was tough. It was tough. And over the course of last summer, the problem we started running into was staffing. And now that we were focused on, now that our folks in the call centers were focused on, we have people working from home. How are we monitoring from home? And we were really transparent between the call centers. We wanted everybody sharing best practices. It was very important to us. I think it was helpful to everybody involved. And we wanted full transparency and communication because we didn't want to have any issues. But yeah, they not only had to figure out how to work from home, they had to figure out how to train from home, how to monitor from home, how to do team management from home, how to manage their KPIs from home. All those things happen. And yes, they did impact us in certain ways. But if somebody doesn't answer the phone, you're going to get a chargeback. What would you do, right? If I'm not sure what this thing is on my credit card and I look at my phone, I have no idea what this thing is, and then I call the phone number that's on the statement and nobody answers the phone, I'm charging back. And it's not, and a lot of times it's just friendly fraud where the husband didn't know, right? So this becomes for folks. So we had staffing issues here and there, and definitely contributed to chargebacks. And we went along and we really loosened up our policies across the board just to deal with the problem, doing things like refunding anybody asked within 120 days, just to make sure that we just stood in front of the people we couldn't get a hold of, right? If we couldn't reach them. And thankfully only now really, we had a staffing problem from, well, since COVID started till December, really. That was how bad it was. We never, it wasn't until now where all of our metrics are back where they're supposed to be. And it's because our teams, it took time for them to learn how to train from home, how to get users from home, and that was tough. But there's been a huge positive that happened this last year, and I'm very happy with this, and I'm happy to share this, and I'm very, I think this is good for everybody. We no longer take credit cards over the phone. We don't want to see your phone number. We never talk about your phone number. We use all links. Okay, and I don't want to be lost on anybody. If I'm talking to somebody and they want to buy something, the call center agent sends that customer a form with all the terms and conditions, everything that they're buying, all the prices laid out, everything's super clear to that customer, and then the customer has to enter the information themselves, right? Now we've tracked the IP that can be used for representment. They've made the decision themselves. What does this do? If I'm talking to somebody over the phone and they say they want to buy something, if they are, if they're not sure what they're talking about, or they didn't understand, or they didn't hear, you have sales validation that helps, but still think about the commitment level of somebody who gave their credit card over the phone versus somebody who put it in themselves. And that's really comes down to a bias. And if I put something in myself, I'm more biased to believe in what I bought. And that helped tremendously. And it really helped me sleep at night better too, because now there's no worry that somebody has written down a credit card and is taking them with them. They have no access to it. It just removes a point of breach that you have. And any agent that can take a credit card over the phone or see it, it's a point of breach. So we don't want them touching anything. And then we always did call monitoring, but we weren't doing 100% call monitoring and chat monitoring. So now we do 100% of both with Observe.ai. And again, this is the company that we use. It was recommended by a friend. It seems to be working fine for us. If you're looking at different solutions for your call center, I would highly recommend you take a look at them. We're very early on, but it's been great to be able to proactively see things for compliance, to see what's happening on calls, and if people are saying anything, any keywords. I think it goes a lot deeper than just looking for keywords. It's actually, we talk about moments and what they do on the calls, how they create urgency, how they're selling, what the tolerance is like, what the caller's behavior is like. And finally, just a zero tolerance policy for abuse. I mean, there's no going back. I don't care who it is. And I've had a long career with call centers. There's always that fear sometimes that you have somebody who's performing or somebody who's good. And by the way, this is true if you've got 5 people or 500 people. If you have one bad person, you just get rid of them. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if they're a top producer. Doesn't matter if it was one time. They will do it again. And don't worry, somebody else will step up. So if that's the one thing you get from this presentation, you're welcome. Any questions about the call center fraud? All right.
I think that was pretty thorough and clear cut.
Happy to help. And there's more to it, and you're always welcome to reach out to me. This is the part for me. All of the call center, chargebacks. This is the kind of stuff I think as an industry we should all be really open and willing to share and be transparent about, because this affects all of us. And I think that the more that we're able to get over our concerns and our fears of things that might happen, hey, have you tried this? Have you tried this? What happened? I think that it benefits all of us, because this is the back end processing. We all want, we all want to be selling clean, and we want everybody to get the positives. And it's the whole point of clean apps, right? So, happy to share, and you're also welcome to reach out to me after if you like as well. All right, so communication failures. This is another big one. So deliverability and response times. So I'm still surprised when I see my bank or my cable company and their emails go to my spam. I don't know who works there or who's doing this, but it blows me away that this day and age, these companies don't know how to get to the inbox. And it's really kind of sad, actually, that they can't do it. So it's really important to us that we're always getting into the inbox for whatever we're doing, and that we're responding quickly. We need to make sure our calls are answered quickly, that we don't have abandons, and chats are answered quickly and we don't have abandons, and the emails too. Although I know a lot of people are moving away from email. We've thought about it ourselves, but our clientele still likes email. So we're not sure we're going to move away from it too fast. But one of the things we're also looking to institute this next year, we'll see if we get it done. You can hold me accountable next year, is that if somebody's emailed, if we can't get a hold of a customer, that's going to put somebody into a tier. So like they're going to be really actively gone after and monitored, because I think that people who give fake emails and fake phone numbers are possibly also the same ones that are just fake customers. So we're going to start defaulting more to that person was not real. Let's just cancel and refund them. I don't want to deal with it. Because if somebody wants to work with us, they should be validated. They should be real. Again, KPIs missed, AHT abandons. Don't let it get away from you. Overstaff. Make sure that you're able to handle it. Also, notification and planned billing. So we've always done some notification. And then I was surprised to find out, talking to a friend of mine who has a very large, lot of subscribers, about how often he was doing it. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. I'm like, and you don't see a big change in your, in any of your renewal rates. And he said no, and he was surprised. And so we were doing, so we do monthly and annual billings. We were doing like, I think 7 days before for monthlies and 30 days for annual, something like that. And we stepped it way up. We actually do 3 now. It hasn't been a problem. I mean, if you don't want to be charged for us, give us a call and we'll turn you off, or we'll sell you something else, or we'll give you a discount, whatever it is. The point is that don't be afraid to notify people of planned billing. It's just one of those areas that, if you're smaller, it might be something you can get away with, but as you get size and scale, you just need to do it. And also identifying magic words. I think that that's another one that is really important, because somebody who says, something like, lawyer or Better Business Bureau or something, those are, a call center rep might not get that all the time. So we've really laid out, like, any of these words come up, you just capitulate, and whatever they want, just give it to them. I think that's super helpful as well. I think that, and then also because we do 100% monitoring of our calls, it's easy to identify when an agent missed it. It's important. Mitigation techniques, I talked about this a little bit already. We are matching emails to chargebacks. I don't know what your policy is for email or for chat, but when you have the customer's email and you know what email address charge back, just join those 2 tables. That's it. If that's too techy for you, if you guys don't know the data part, you basically, if you know somebody emailed or chatted with you because you have their email address, and you know the chargeback email address, you put the 2 together, and you will then know exactly what your refund policy is causing chargebacks with your clients. So that's helpful. And it also lets you know if you're maybe not providing the best service on those things too. Harder on phone calls, obviously, but you can still match it up if you have the email address in your target database. Again, I already mentioned this, send multiple notification emails, which is spelt wrong. Sorry, I missed that. And it looks like the spacing got messed up when they redid this. And then proper refund policy that includes magic words. Any questions on the communication failures? Also, I would also mention too, if you're not doing it, any new customers, if you don't have an onboarding campaign, you should build one right away. You want to be promoting your service, what it is, get them to use it. It's very important. And then, so that was sort of the practical stuff that you can use. And then this was just, and I'd be happy to hear what happened to any of you guys this year in terms of fraud. Again, I mentioned this previously. I mean, the fake refunds were out of control this past year. We had so much stuff about US tech support is out of business and you're entitled to a refund. Really scary stuff where, and unfortunately, the news is terrible. Thankfully, they took it down. But one paper in one county was talking about how US tech support took like $6,000 from a lady and from gift cards, which is like crazy. But if you haven't heard about this fraud, the fraudsters are getting smarter every year. And they said they were us, get them on the phone. They get your checking account information, but let's talk about what they do. They've already learned that if they take your checking account money, they're going to come back and get you again, right? So they have to set up the scam so the customer is duped into really believing what they're saying. So what they say is, and it's so bizarre, it's really sad because I got letters of how you took this money from me and I wasn't even your customer, and you're going like, oh my God, you don't even understand. It's not even us. And by the way, if you haven't been to our website, if you haven't been to Realdefense or US Tech Support, the first thing that pops up is tech support scams. Don't get scammed. Click here to learn more. I mean, we put it in all of our emails too. Oh, did I lose you guys? You guys still there?
No, we're here.
You're here. Did my screen share stop?
Now it did, it looks like, yeah.
So
there it is. It's back.
There it is. Great.
It's back.
Well, anyways, I mean, the sob stories is so sad, but what they would do is they take they get your bank account, and then to make you feel safe, they actually put money in the bank account. Okay. And it's only off in there. It's not really in there. And then they get you to buy gift cards, and they say, okay, I put the money in there because I need you to buy the gift cards. And then we're gonna, I mean, just bizarre, really convoluted stuff. But why they do that is that gift cards cannot be reclaimed. Once they're bought, that money's gone. Once a thief has a gift card, you can't get them. You can't get them, you can't track them, you can't do anything. And so, and I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. I mean, thousands of dollars people get scammed for. It's really, really sad. And then of course the scammers never deposit the money. The money comes right out of the account and nothing ever happens to them. So that's really sad. That one, and we have some partners too. And then we were starting to get letters from our partners because they were saying, oh, they're out of business. And they look legitimate. They have websites and emails, and we do our best to track it down and to fight the stuff. But it's literally playing whack-a-mole with these guys.
Sean, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to jump in, Georgie here for a minute. So I've been carefully listening to what you've been saying, and our experience is 100% correlates with what you described. So I just want to jump in and then tell you what else they do. These cameras. So that's one thing. That's one way to defraud. With the coupons and the these gift cards. But they also do is they would say they have transferred, let's say, I don't know, $1,000, but then they will tell the victim that they actually transferred like 10,000 by mistake, so they would need to get the 9,000 back, and of course nothing ever been transferred, so the victim would just transfer or wire the 9,000 back, and that's how it happens. So it's we've been digging into it ourselves. Our findings show that this is a organized criminal organization. This is for sure. I imagine this kind of customer-related data is being traded on the dark web, and I can also tell you that these guys they use obviously fake names. They would use one of those how they call it, like on Skype you can get those virtual phone numbers which expire in like 24 hours. And they would go to your Trustpilot page of your organization, and they would basically scroll down through the reviews, and they would collect some names of actual employees, which will help them impersonate you. So this is getting very, very tricky, and obviously I'm happy to share our experience with you after that. But we are obviously cooperating with the law enforcement here because this is very serious for us.
Yeah, I can't. That's just terrible. And I think I had to hear something like that. It's terrible. They're so devious, and they're really preying on the most vulnerable, which is very sad. I mean, we put into our every email that goes out, it says we will never call you. We don't do any outbound. We've literally, and I think we talked about this last year a little bit. You guys might remember. We said we were going to toll free because we had a separate issue where we were having these TDOS attacks, these telephony denial of service attacks, which were a real problem. They basically flooded us. They flooded us, shut us down, and they made money on it, which is just, it's unthinkable. But it's exactly what they did. So we went to 100% local numbers. It's totally worked. Do we have days where there's prank calls? Yes. The prank calls are always limited. I mean, I don't think any time in the last year since we went to toll-free numbers that we've had more than a 200 call spike, maybe, like which just sucks, and your abandons go up, right? Somebody will pepper you, but because there's no money for them, they can't make money off it anymore. It's totally helped us. So we're all local numbers. It's brought up other issues. We've got a couple of customers who are like, oh my gosh, I had a call with you and it was $7 or it was $10. And we're like, okay, some people are not on unlimited plans yet. We just refund them. And then we have a couple of hidden 800 numbers that we give to special people who are like, still not on an unlimited plan. But I would definitely say blacklist your phone numbers. And we talked about this last year a little bit, if you recall. There's different services out there. There's Nomo Robo. They're a really good one. We give them all of our stuff to blacklist. Even our local numbers we blacklist. But people are going to get through. The more we can teach customers that we'll never call them. And really, this new shake it and stir. I know we're not talking about it today. I'm not sure, Lou, if there's anything in the conference about it. Is there anything in the conference about shake it and stir? Or?
Not specifically, no.
I'm really excited about this, and I don't know where it's at today, because I just got a note that there was some sort of compliance needed. But Shaken and Stir is basically, the best way I can describe it to you guys, it's kind of like SSL for phone numbers. So, you know, for all of you who are old like me, if you remember back in '97, I mean, you go to your bank's website and there was no secure little lock on it, right? You would never transact now. Even matter of fact, the browsers won't even let you transact now without that secure icon, so that you know there's security in transit in your communications with the bank. Phone numbers are not that way. Anybody can spin up a Twilio or a Skype, whatever. They're not verified, and they can call anybody they want. And they will constantly fake and spoof your phone number. What Shaken and Stir does, it won't stop all the spam, but it will eventually, down the road, stop all this international spam of people. And my phone has rang twice during this call, all local numbers, all spam calls. I'm really excited about it. It's going to start in the US, and then apparently it's going to get adopted across the world eventually. But the idea is, it's really simple. And the phone companies, of course, they say they want this. They don't really want this. This could be enacted tomorrow. They don't want this because less phone calls, right? They make less money. It's just shooting themselves in the foot. But consumers are going to be so much happier when this happens, and I'm excited about it. And then, of course, we already talked about the gift card fraud, and really sad. That's pretty much it, guys. I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have them or want to talk. I put my email address out here. You can reach out to me anytime. Happy to share horror stories and talk about anything you guys would like. But
we'll see if there's any. We'll see if there's any questions here, Sean. Let's see if there's any final questions. You were very thorough. That was great. Is there anybody else anybody have any more questions for Sean before we wrap? You can just say them out loud.
Alvin, you don't like call center business? What's wrong with you, Alvin?
No, you were thorough, dude. It was good. So we really, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really a lot of it good data.
Yeah, I two things. It's Phil from AvenQuest. I mean, everything you said, you covered a lot of stuff, and I think we're a little more aggressive than you on not emailing people. I think we do 3 months without an open and we kill them, and are monitoring open rates separately on every major platform, Gmail, Hotmail, stuff like that. So definitely great advice, because you can just burn your email stuff so easily. In the past, if someone bought software from us, and when we used to have a new version, it's like we didn't care if they bought it 3 years ago. We'd be like, hey, new version available. It's just an upgrade email. That's cool. Now it's like, man, 3 months, you're dead to us if you've not opened something. So great advice there. We had the same stuff with the affiliate thing. We killed all our affiliates on utility products. So I think it's different for different types of products. Like on photo and stuff like that, we don't have any significant affiliate fraud. Every now and then you find something stupid, but it's really rare. Dennis asked a question about good affiliates. There are. You get affiliates that are, top 10 reviews, things like this, that are comparing products and they point back to you, and those are, really safe and really good affiliates. But I'm not really doing anything at all with affiliates on utility. It was just too scary. So yeah, great, thank you. And we had the same experience on that side that you did. So
you went 3 months. 3 months is even more strict. I didn't even think about that. Is that helped out a lot?
Yeah, it's actually worked really well for us. I don't know how often you email people, but we have sort of a regular cycle of email, and if they're not opening within the 3 months, we stop. Yeah, it's worked well. We have our open rates are really good on that kind, on our emails, and the deliverability rates are fantastic. And every now and then you'll find, I can't remember, Yahoo or something we were having some trouble with, and then we had to be really drastic. Other things we do is we stopped emailing people in Latin America, in certain territories. Like we do email in probably, I guess we have it maybe in 12 or 20 different languages, right? Or used to, for some of the products. And some of the countries, individual countries will have really low open rates. So, we'll be selling software in Argentina or in Chile or something like this, but the open rates on the email are really low, and that can hurt your overall email reputation with the providers. So we really, we might do one email there, and then if they don't open that, we'll never email them again, that type of thing. So there's a lot of stuff there that we look at to try and optimize things.
Since you brought up affiliates again, I just want to ask that all you guys please come tomorrow, because a lot of money can be made with affiliates. Obviously, there's an opportunity to make a lot of money with them. So how do you differentiate and how do you make sure? And the talk from Virus Positive is all about that subject. And how do you protect yourself from the downside that Sean's been going over, and get the upside, because there's a lot of upside to be gotten there. So I think you'll all really like that initial presentation tomorrow by Virus Positive. So please join us. I really appreciate all you guys' support and coming to our summit here, and I hope we'll see you tomorrow for that too. Is there any other questions for Sean or anything anybody wants to add before we wrap it up?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Tila, we can hear you.
Finally!
Hi.
I've just figured it out. Like, oh my gosh. Hi, everyone. I've been muted forever, but not by the computer, not by the actual app. So,
Okay, well, I won't say anything about that, Tila. It's nice to have you here now.
thanks, everyone.
All right, any other questions for Sean? So, Sean, thank you very much. That was a great presentation. It was really thorough. I loved it. Georgie, thank you earlier, and thanks to Anytech. Again, tomorrow, we're going to be talking on the subject of the affiliates, and I think that's going to be really excellent. And after that, which is another reason I really want you all there, is I want to talk just a bit about, really have a discussion about CleanApps, because I just want to hear more from you guys. We're a community. That's the main thing we are. And I want to hear a lot more about, what you guys would like to see us doing, what you like about what we've been doing, what we're doing that maybe, is a waste of our time. So I'm really hoping you'll all be here so we can have a little discussion of that after the presentations tomorrow. So I don't know, is there anybody else that has any final thoughts or points they want to make?
No, Lou, thanks for putting this together, and feel free, anybody wants to reach out to me, we're happy to talk.
Absolutely. And we'll be sharing the, later on after the summit, we will be sharing the presentations and information for you guys, so you'll be able to see that stuff. So if everybody will turn on their cameras and say goodbye or hello and goodbye, that would be nice. That was fun yesterday. Will you do it, folks? There you go. Hey, Alvin.
Hello,
I
Alvin.
love to see your beautiful face, Alvin.
Okay, Alvin.
Okay, you guys.
Bye.
Take care, everyone. Speak to
Hey,
you tomorrow.
guys.
Thanks for coming. Georgie, thanks again.
Sure.
Thanks
Welcome.
again.
Bye.
Bye, Tila.
Bye,
everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Kirk.
Bye.
Good to see you, Kirk.
You too, Lou.
All right, man. Take care. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. See you, Peter. Bye, Louise.
Lou, see ya.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
That was a good one.
Lou,
Yeah, it was
are you still
it
there?
was
Can you hear
excellent.
me?
Yes.
I need a copy for what we'll send tomorrow morning.
Yes, I'll get that. I'll get that to you.
Okay, but I'll be
We'll do the
checking
same thing.
on that.
We'll send it tonight, right?
Yes, okay?
Yeah.
I'll be sleeping for now.
Okay. Good night. See you, Peter. See you, Kevin.